So what if I told you there was a cardio routine, perfect for losing stubborn belly fat for good, that didn't require spending endless hours on the treadmill? So in the past 10 years, I've undergone multiple transformations where I literally went from borderline chubby to single-digit body fat. There are many different ways to make this happen, but there's really only one way that's sustainable, like to the point that you won't even notice you're doing it. Lord knows, I've tried everything since I started training like 15 years ago. So I can safely say that I know what not to do. So let's talk about cardio strategies that I've used over the years to achieve a shredded look and what I currently use today to maintain a lean physique all year round. And I'm not the only one using these strategies. So are all of my clients. Bruce lost an extra human worth of himself implementing these techniques. Paul dropped almost 50 pounds in 6 months doing the same exact thing. And Jeremy went from fluff to buff in less than a year. And the thing about it is, anybody can do it. So let's dive in. What we're going to be focusing on is the most underrated cardio for fat loss. First, we're going to look at frequency, how long you should be doing the cardio in the first place, and then I'll go into detail and give you some estimates on calorie burn and even give you a plan so you can follow. Second, we'll go into duration, and third, we'll go into the intensity of the cardio itself. Are you doing HIIT, jogging, running, sprinting, swimming laps, steady state, marathons? I'll break it all down for you. Let's start by discussing the optimal intensity for your cardio workouts and the impact on fat loss. So the goal is to reach the MFO zone. This stands for maximal fat oxidation. And studies indicate that the body's fuel source, whether that's fat or carbohydrates, is going to shift depending on the workout intensity. Thus, the aim is to find the right balance where fat burning is maximized. Factors like age, weight, height, gender, all of this can influence this balance and potentially favoring protein utilization. So I want to share some info sourced from the Institute of Human Anatomy, supported by an extensive research, and it illustrates this concept based on cardio intensity. So basically, it starts from a resting heart rate of 72 beats per minute, goes up to 127, 138, 144, and finally 153 beats per minute. So according to this study, the percentage of calories burned were derived from fat and carbohydrates. But at lower heart rates, like near rest, a significant 78% of calories burned came from fat, with the remainder from carbohydrates. However, as the heart rate increases, the balance shifts with a higher percentage of calories derived from carbohydrates. This highlights the inverse relationship between heart rate and the proportion of calories sourced from fats during cardio. So to break it all down just a little bit further, when it comes to cardio, our bodies are big fans of using up glycogen, which is basically stored carbs for energy. And as our heart rate climbs during the workout, the percentage of energy coming from carbs skyrockets from like 21% to 72%. But there's more to this story than just where the energy is coming from. We're also curious about how many calories we're burning as we go. So at a relaxed 72 beats per minute, we're burning about 1.1 calories from fat and a measly 0.3 from carbs out of the total 1.4. But once we hit 127 beats per minute, those numbers ramp up to 4.7 calories from fat and 6.8 from carbs per minute. It's at about 127 beats per minute mark where we're hitting our peak fat burn. So I like splitting up cardio into two types, and I've done both. Stage 1 and Stage 2 cardio. During Stage 2 cardio sessions, I'm aiming to get my heart rate up in between 120 and 140 beats per minute. Why? It's because that's where we're going to get the most bang for our buck in terms of fat burn while keeping things manageable. When it comes to this stuff, the research has our back, and it says it's all about the total calories burned for fat loss and not just where they're coming from. So going forward, keep an eye on that heart rate during Stage 2 cardio. There's absolutely no need to push it beyond 140 beats per minute. You're not getting much extra fat burn for all that extra effort. You need to stick to the sweet spot, and you'll be optimizing your time spent doing your cardio. So now you're probably wondering, okay, I get it. I need to keep my heart rate up between 120 and 140 beats per minute in order to hit my optimal fat loss targets. But how do I structure my workouts? Well, I'm going to walk you through my really simple cardio game plan. Remember how I mentioned there was two types of cardio. There's Stage 1 and there's Stage 2. Stage 1 cardio is all about tracking your steps. You're trying to keep your heart rate around 72 beats per minute. Why is this key? Because even if you're cutting calories, your body might find ways to be more efficient and burn less. By tracking steps, you're ensuring that you're burning a consistent amount of calories every single day. So let's aim for 10,000 steps a day. Typically, this will burn around 400 extra calories a day. And of course, the results may vary depending on age, gender, weight, and height. But here's the kicker. To burn a pound of fat, you gotta burn through roughly 3,500 calories. So by hitting those 10,000 extra steps and burning those extra calories, you're already shedding about 1 pound of fat per week, and that's just coming from walking. And over time, as we ramp up those steps per day, you're gonna torch through even more fat, supercharging your fat loss. What about stage 2 cardio? When do you start doing that? You don't need any, and I'm gonna explain. It's crucial to set up a solid baseline for your cardio. One of the most common mistakes that I see people make is jumping into stage 2 cardio too soon, and they totally wipe themselves out and quit, meaning their final goals turn into a distant dream because they just didn't pace themselves properly, and this is avoidable. Don't burn yourself out. I've made this mistake in the past so that you don't have to. The best way I found to do this is to increase steps gradually. This is going to help you burn more calories overall without burning yourself out because you'll be building stamina to be able to handle it. Can you get some stage 2 cardio in? Sure. I mean, if you like it, just go for it, but don't overdo it. Don't do more than 15 minutes of it 3 times per week and keep your heart rate between 120 and 140. Anything higher isn't necessary and it's not going to yield you any additional benefits. So the majority of your cardio should be walking. That's it. Do it in any way you want, but just walk. Why? Well, it's easy on the body and it helps preserve your muscle mass. And on top of that, it's much less likely to become monotonous or cause excessive strain. And you can do it while you do other things at the same time. And most importantly, walking is not going to stimulate your appetite. This is why I suggest staying far away from HIIT training. Remember, high-intensity cardio is great if you want to burn a lot of calories, but it will also increase hunger and hinder your recovery. So for many, sticking to a steady-state cardio like a brisk walk or incline walking or using a Stairmaster proves to be more effective for fat loss in the long run. And ultimately, you got to remember, guys, consistency and pacing yourself are key. By gradually increasing your cardio workload and paying attention to your body's signals, you're going to set yourself up for long-term success in achieving your goals and dropping that unwanted belly fat and walking around shirtless with confidence. I really do hope that all you guys found this helpful. When it comes down to it, it's really all about movement. So the more that you end up moving, the better you're going to look, feel, and the more fat you'll burn. So here's to your best body and getting rid of all that belly fat. You got this.